Now, you may be wondering, why the heck is Max talking about something from Tron, BTT? Well, you got to keep in mind, I'm going to show you some things. For one, I have been into BTT. Basically, man, I mean, we're talking about a while, but why highlight BTT? Well, if you follow what's going on with the top 100, you'll see why old Max is highlighting BTT. So for one, look at this, all right? And this was up over 110% this morning. And I've been holding on to BTT for the longest time, all right? How long? Well, I'll give you an idea. Basically, I've been holding on to it since August 2nd of 2021. And yeah, I know I could have bought other things at that time, right? But I'm still learning at that point. Don't know as much as I know now. But I basically put in about $3,800 into BTT. Now, am I saying for you to go out there and put $3,800 into BTT? No, I would not say that at all. In fact, I'm still way down, right? You live, you learn. But there was always something about BTT of why I got into it originally. And the reason why I got into it, I said to myself, yeah, a lot of people, you know, use a BitTorrent, let's face it, and use it for the reasons of, you know, something bay, right? I'm just going to throw that out there. And, you know, want to get the hookup on certain shows and stuff like that. Sounds bad, but there's something to be said about that. And here's the thing. I looked at BitTorrent, especially when it came to, you know, cryptocurrency, because my friend was into it. And he says to me, he's like, yeah, I'm getting to BTT. Here's how to go about it at the time. You know, we had to go through KuCoin back then and so on. And basically, I was like, really? BTT, you know, as in BitTorrent they're into crypto? He's like, yeah, it's called the BTT tokens built on Tron. And when I looked more into it, I said, interesting. What would happen if all these users that are using, you know, BitTorrent, like at some point didn't realize it was tied into crypto? Kind of like us, like Mike Cornwell always talks about, you know, use your Stellar XLM. You know, old Granny May or Aunt May or whatever you want to call her, she goes to swipe her debit card and doesn't even know it's tied into crypto. I was looking at it from that same perspective, but in regards to the actual applications of, you know, being like a, you know, what do you call it, like on a node or being a user of a BitTorrent, basically. And what happens when you convert all those users, and there's millions of them worldwide, into crypto. Now, this hasn't done anything for the longest time. I think, you know, shout out to Le Grand Commission. I think he was into BTT maybe in the year 2020 or 2021. I got into it after that wave, you know, and at that time it was on this old contract. And I've been watching the old contract pump and do things. And I'm thinking to myself, great, the old contract, that's just wonderful. I'm on the new one. Well, finally, today, the new one has something going on. Well, what exactly is going on, right? I'd be asking that all day. Well, I'm going to share with you what's been going on with this thing, because I saw this headline and it brought me back full circle of why I got into BTT to begin with. And yes, Max never talks about BTT. Why am I talking to my, you know, in the third person? Just hear me out. This made news literally today. It is the 6th. Let's talk about BTT for a brief moment. It ain't going to dominate the show. But some of you guys, I am aware, hold some BTT. And either you got into it at one point, got out. There's been a lot of FUD in regards to Tron. A lot of people giving up on it. But look what it says straight from CoinDesk. And I'm going to just double check to see if you guys can see this. You can. And all of a sudden, like I said, you know, I went parabolic today. Well, not super parabolic, but come on, over 110% is worth pointing out. So it says BTT's token doubles in value as Tron, on which it's issued, hits 200 million users. Now, we're always talking about, whether it's this or any other type of cryptocurrency, that if you can have something in which, like, people are kind of forced to use the technology without even knowing it, isn't that an example of utility in motion? And what about mass adoption? This is probably the best example I can think of, currently speaking, of forced mass adoption of people not even realizing, for the most part, that they're using, you know, BitTorrent and it's tied into crypto. Now, hear me out. This token, now approaching a $1 billion market cap, when we jump over to CMC, yeah, look at this. Not too far away from it. 863 million. And, basically speaking, I don't think we're too far from hitting that, basically. Still doing well, on the 1 hour chart, right? So, yeah, crazy stuff. And we'll talk about some helium too. But look at this for a second. Let's jump back to CoinDesk. So it is approaching this. Here's this particular chart from TradingView. A lot of you guys use this, like Edward Vincent and so on. And for a lot of people, it's just this constant like down, 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 down. And out of nowhere, boom, right? Why the boom? Well, look what it says. BTT token from BitTorrent, the file sharing platform that Tron bought all the way back in 2018, more than doubled in price today amid apparent optimism about the Tron blockchain. BTT is issued on the Tron blockchain, just hit 200 million users. There basically appears to be no new catalyst for the price rise, but getting more into this, the move comes alongside uptick across the wider crypto market, with the likes of some of these other ones doing some things. But back to the topic of BTT, because it's on the Tron ecosystem. It says shortly after that surge, there was a post from Justin Sun where he writes about some of the stuff, and I'm just going to take you right to it, basically. But he has some interesting tweets. Now, I know not a lot of people are fans of this guy. Some people feel as though he's sinister. Where the case be, check this out. He did tweet this about 19 hours ago. Justin Sun, and this is his real account. It's got the blue check mark, 3.4 million users. That's him. He says, as Tron celebrates reaching 200 million users, I want to extend a special shout out to Tether and his devs. I know. Just don't shoot the messenger too quick here. Just bear with me. It says, remarkably, 34,500,061 users on Tron, which represents 17.2% of all users now hold USDT. A little more about this. He says, this is not only a significant milestone, but also a testament to our growing ecosystem. I'm confident that we will continue to increase the usage of Tether and other stablecoins, further solidifying our position in the market. He also firmly believes that the future of Tron hinges on their 4 fundamental pillars, and this is some of the area that I thought, all right, this is worth sharing with you guys. Decentralization, compliance, communication, and institutional engagement. Now, I understand it when it comes to Justin Sun and Tron. We want to talk about buyer confidence. A lot of people don't really have a lot of confidence. I've totally seen even my friend that was into BTT, he got out of it a while ago, right? Like, you want to talk about diamond hands. I've been diamond handed the hell out of this thing for a while, even at a loss. But this whole concept of institutional engagement, say what you want. You guys do kind of know me if you've been watching me for a while. I do some risky stuff because it's my own justification of like why I'm not into meme tokens, but at the same time, it's kind of like a meme type play, if you will. And when I see this, I think to myself, we have seen examples of, not just buy the rumor, sell the news, but we have also seen examples where it's like, as the saying goes, do you buy on other people's fear? And I think Tron might be in that little area where some people do and most people don't. Now I see all this stuff happening with Tron, and I'm thinking, well, I was married to it for a reason because I came in way too late. And on top of that, overpaid. But when I see these new indicators of 200 million people, you better believe that not all 200 million people that use BTT are fully aware that's tied into crypto. I'm just going to say probably the majority don't know that. There's a good portion that do, but the majority don't. A little bit more about this. It says, to propel Tron forward, we must intensify our efforts to enhance the decentralization of the Tron blockchain. Direct and frequent communication with the community devs is crucial, of course, for fostering a collaborative and informed environment. It says, engaging with regulators around the world is essential to broaden blockchain adoption and align with global compliance standards. Additionally, attracting more institutional investors, once again, into the Tron ecosystem will be a key strategy in our continued growth and success. So by taking Tether is, that's one thing. Right? A lot of people are still not too confident about Tether, and I get that. But, there's so much coming up here with these ETFs and so on. And I'm also thinking to myself, I'm actually glad that I held the course with Tron, because now I actually kind of want to see where this goes. Yes, I overbought it. Am I going to buy more? No, I'm not. But it did get headlines, and I thought to myself, mentioned twice from Justin Sun about, institutional investors fostering a collaboration, growing out the ecosystem. What institutional money is going to come into this? I mean, a lot of people don't take Tron serious, and maybe most of you guys don't either, and maybe even part of me doesn't want to. But I also kind of hold on to the what if, because let's face it, I'm kind of married to this thing. Now, what I want to state in closing, what does it mean for you if you happen to be a BTT holder? And basically, this is where it's at. You got to keep in mind, this increased adoption and potential for future use cases have been, of course, positive implications of BTT in itself. This recent price surge demonstrates that the market is reacting, of course, positively to these developments. About freaking time. We've been holding on to this since 2021. My God, especially summertime. At least I have. Additionally, BTT is integrated, of course, into dApps. And I've stated this many months ago, if you guys have been paying attention to the show very closely. What did I say that would happen towards the end of 2023? Well, I did hop on the bandwagon with Charlie Shrem, from Investor Place. He said, watch out for the end of 2023. You will start to see blockchain projects that kind of will come out of the blue, building dApps that you just didn't even realize you're building. Is Tron a perfect example of that? I think it could be, but I'm not fully convinced. Also, I want you to keep in mind that, the whole thing of this future outlook for BTT is in BitTorrent. It does seem positive. It is also crucial for investors, for instance, to, as the saying goes, conduct their own research. But in summary, I want you to have this for your conclusion. Reaching 200 million users, of course, is a significant achievement for BTT and, of course, the BitTorrent ecosystem. For me and a lot of the people, it indicates that there is widespread adoption. And at the end of the day, whether it's Tron or any other project, isn't that the main goal? I think it is. A growing Tron network and potential for future developments is something that I think every project, whether it's Tron or the next guy, wants to do. Now, although the immediate impact of BTT, as in BitTorrent, holders is positive, investors, of course, should be mindful of inherent risks, like we mentioned. Do more of your own research. But what if we get some solid projects, dApps and so on? It's something about 200 million users. I don't even think half of them realize that they are on, into crypto. So is this one of the best examples of forced mass adoption, if you will? We've talked about it for the longest time. And that's, of course, why I'm bringing it to you guys. We have a little bit more info to get into tonight. We're going to talk about some helium briefly. We'll get back to some of the main topics that we always talk about. Some JASMY. We're going to talk about Casper. We're also going to talk about IOTA. All right. Please smash the like if you haven't done so already. Make sure you're subscribed to myself. Also, Will Fix, and so on. He can be followed over on the X platform like myself at Will Fix 7. And shout out to our brother Will. He has also recently made some videos about Luna Classic. Luna Classic's been doing really well too. Interesting how all these things that some people gave up on, they're doing well.